All right, welcome everybody for joining the Outreach meeting on June 26th. We are a community focused on open source licensed projects securing data in use and accelerating the adoption of confidential computing through open collaboration. Here at CCC, every member is welcome. Every project meeting our criteria is welcome. We are a transparent, collaborative community. We as members, contributors, and leaders pledge to make participation in our community a harassment-free experience for everybody. Moving on. As you know, CCC is under Linux Foundation. Here is the antitrust policy for your information. If you have any questions about that, feel free to reach out to Linux Foundation's PMs on this call. So here's the list of talking points for today. So we can go ahead and start it. First of all, do we have a quorum? I did see quite a bit of members, but
I think not yet, but I don't think we have, other than the minutes approval, that there was no feedback on the mailing list, so there's no, unless there's specific comments about the minutes, I think it should be okay.
got it. Perfect. Can move on. Okay, so as I'm not sure if you you'll know, but CCC has a mentorship. We had an idea previously. We actually did not set up the proper one until I think this year, if I know correctly. So I invited Yash from Red Hat from TAG to talk to us about the mentorship program that he's been working with projects and other teams in CCC. So Yash, are you here?
Yes. Hi. Thank you.
Hi.
Yes. So thank you so much for having me on this call. And it was very nice seeing a lot of you at the CC Summit earlier this month. So I'm here to talk about mentorship. So hi, I'm Yash. I'm from Red Hat. I'm on the CCC TAC. So we are introducing a mentorship program for the CCC. It is based on the Linux Foundation mentorship program. We will be using the LFX mentoring portal to advertise our projects and our mentorship opportunities, and the mentees will have to apply on the LFX portal join. So it is very, so if you have been part of other mentoring programs such as GSOC or Outreachy or the CNCF mentoring program, it is very similar to that. It is a 12-week work block. We need a project idea from one of the 13 accepted CCC projects. You would give a description of what the mentorship opportunity is about, a set of required skills that you're looking from a mentee, and you would fill the project idea template that is linked in the second bullet point, and you would open a PR or a pull request in the governance repo, which we can then advertise to at different conferences or events or on our LinkedIn page or in the news letter to invite mentees to apply. And once we have enough applications, the mentor for the project would get to interview the mentee. And once they are selected, me and Rian and Ben will work to get them enrolled into the program. And it's a paid mentorship. It is paid for by the Linux Foundation. So the most challenging aspect of this is getting a mentor who's willing to devote, let's say, between 2 to 4 hours a week, a weekly check-in with the mentee for 12 weeks. But I think this is a great way to get more people, get more students involved in the CCC projects, get future maintainers for sections of the projects. And at the CC Summit, I had conversations with the ILET project, Certifier Framework, VertiE, and also Verizon. So we have mentors who are willing to submit project ideas. Once we have them, then we can start promoting them. And my goal is to have at least 2 or 3 projects signed up this year. As we increase our number of projects next year and we have more mentors, we can switch to a term-based approach with the way CNCF does it, where they have 3 terms across the year. But because we are only looking at maybe a couple of projects this year, then it's the schedule of the mentoring program is very flexible. So we can start anytime the mentoring idea is ready or the mentor is ready. And once the mentee is enrolled in the program, it will run for 12 weeks. So any questions or?
Is there any specific projects that Mentor is ready to take mentees now?
So from my conversations at CC Summit, Thomas Fossati from the Verizon project has a couple of ideas that he's willing to work on already. So we did not, the CCC did not have a formal mentoring program up until we launched this, or we are launching this. But last year, so from December to February, Thomas already had a mentee, and they worked on a project for they worked on an idea for the Verizon project. And when I spoke to him, he has more ideas that we can use to kickstart this one. So I am going to reach out to all the people I spoke with. I think even Boktuk at the ILET project from Samsung, even they had a couple of they had interest in enrolling in this. So yes, we do have at least one. I can say Verizon is for sure interested.
Got it. Only reason I ask is when outreach knows or any members know it across the committee that we can help promote this program to get more mentees apply. And so that's the only reason why I asked.
Yes.
So there is
yeah.
There is an issue that's going out to the central repository for each of these projects right after this call. So they are directly on the same timeline as us. They'll find out exactly the same day. And as soon as we get some of their scoped projects, those we can socialize out and get some really good students and mentees in. So absolutely, we need to get the word out on this.
Okay. Yeah, Yash, thank you so much for putting all the work here, and this is really amazing. I know it's been a long time project to get this going. So thank you for rallying people and get this kind of kicked off.
Sorry, Kate, I just have one question because I used that link that you have here on the previous page, and there's no. Is this the correct? Because I really typed it twice. GitHub confidential computing. Maybe just send it to the chat, but honestly, I tapped it, and it goes to a page, a 404 page. Thanks.
Oh,
Let's see.
let me try that real quick.
Or maybe it's me.
Oh, I'm getting the error as well.
Yeah, okay. Then it's not just me.
Sorry, I'll look for it and I'll drop the right one.
Okay, and we'll update the deck before Rian sends it out later today with the minute. So you should have that information. So I think this GitHub page has a lot of information, what this mentorship entails and what the mentees get and how to apply and how the 12-week program will look like and all the stuff. So once we click on the right link, you should be able to check all of those information. Okay. Rian and Yash, I don't know why, but I don't think none of these links are working. Oh, never mind. Gemma, the last link that Yash posted on the chat actually works.
Yeah, this one. Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I'll
Awesome.
fix the slides.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Yash, for coming in and kind of telling us about the program and socializing this information. Thank you. And I thought, speaking of mentorship, I thought, it would be a great place to announce the partnership with Women in Cybersecurity. So this was part of our DEI commitment that we set in the beginning of this year, or actually last year. We finally got this program kicked off. I was trying to time it when our mentorship program was mature enough where we could actually leverage this network. So just quick blurb about what WESIS is. It's not just women, but it's really gender diverse, underrepresented folks in cybersecurity. So they have over 10,000 members in their network, and they have tons of associate partners like us throughout all industry, and they have a lot of partnership with different events. They offer scholarship to these mentees. They have a great number of members that are students that pursuing in this professional um, um, that are part of this network. So this is a great opportunity for us to be connected. It not only gives us all the access to reach these folks that we normally don't get to. And we have an opportunity with this partnership. We have an opportunity to have some free membership passes, which I think it would probably, we would have offered to the mentees that are going to be part of this mentorship program. We also have an opportunity to host webinars with them, newsletter features, and of course, job board. So job board, we will post our mentorship program there, but because it has a diverse group of network in their community, feel free to drop your opportunity, your opening positions from your companies if you like to promote it through the WESIS community. We'll be more than happy to do so. So those are kind of a snippet of what we have with WESIS. We did get the more on the lower level where how much we could afford for this partnership for this year, and we will test it out. This is a year-long partnership, year-long commitment and benefit. So we'll evaluate after that point, and if we want to continue with this organization or we want to look at different organization, it's really up for discussion. So just wanted to announce that here. Any questions about this? If not, we can move on. Okay. Ab and Rachel has been working tirelessly on this topic. I'll have you guys kind of do update, but also I want to remind you all this call, I want you to use it as a working call as well. If you need to spend like 10 minutes to talk about something, to get something really, move forward, this is the place to be. So don't just think that outreach call is update call, but maybe use it as any type of feedback or alignment that you are seeking to get from members. But take it away.
Thanks, Kate. And Ab has been working on putting together all the DAC, and he's been coordinating all the efforts. And so Ab is able to present the working group update for outreach group and later for the governing board as well.
Yeah,
Okay.
so sorry, Rachel, do you want to present? Up to you. I'm okay.
Oh, no, Ab, go ahead.
Yeah, so just a reminder for those who are not familiar. So this is basically an initiative that was initiated by the governing board to address the positioning of the competition computing social brand. In fact, there are two elements. There's the CCC itself, but also there's competition computing as a technology. So This is to really align with the current phase of the maturity of the ecosystem. There was a lot of effort since the inception of the consortium and the sorry the appearance of the technology of what is confidential computing. And actually the key here is now we're trying to get to the why it matters, why confidential computing matters, and ultimately the goal that we will measure ourselves against is really the adoption, right, in the market. That's basically what the kind of the mission. That's what this slide is about. I'll pause for a second and see if there's any questions on this. Okay, we'll go next slide, please. Yeah, so just an overview. So the objective is really assess kind of an approach is assess the current CCC brand positioning and identity, and identify areas of improvement. I'm sure there are things that we could do better. And then based on the assessment, we would like to create a baseline. We'll see what's the best way of to do that, whether it's a series of surveys, maybe a brand audit, depending if its relevance and availability of budget and what's the scope, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll see how things in the working group, what's the best way to approach that, setting the baseline so that we can measure the progress as we go along in this initiative. Based on the identified gaps, we'll work together to create a narrative that resonates with the target audiences, and also develop an action plan, whatever it might be, whether it's posting using different channels, focusing on success story and case studies, et cetera, et cetera. We'll not presume in anything. We'll keep an open mind, and obviously there's a good group of participants in the group who will bring their expertise and ideas to how to approach it. So the key deliverable at the end is actually defining a strategy and an action plan that will be submitted to the governing board. That's basically the key deliverable. The way we are functioning right now is a weekly meeting on Thursdays at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 Pacific. There are discussions in the team to maybe switch to bi-weekly, the week where we don't have the outreach, so that gives kind of a breathing room, as well as that people think about preparing the meeting and so on. We had a kickoff on June 13th. Rachel and I have been doing the coordination, but very active participation from everybody who's been on these calls. We have representation from the outreach committee, TAC now, and the governing body. And this is as of June 25th is the list as we have it. So I'm missing a couple of committees here. So by all means, please add them if I missed anyone. But this is the list that we have. I think we have a good representation at the moment, functional, and next meeting is going to be tomorrow. The reason is we wanted multiple voices is basically to make sure that we address all the audiences. Obviously, diversity of opinion is always very, very useful in this type of exercise. This is a tentative timeline. Obviously, you can see a lot of it is still empty on the right, but I want at least the kickoff part of it to kind of using this as a forcing function for ourselves. I think we'll be, kickoff on 13th. Again, I said tentative. We'll see how things progress in the next couple of weeks. Ideally, is we have a draft to be presented to the governing board by end of July. If there are any feedback changes that need to be done, we'll do it, and then hopefully a final review early August, and then we have the plan and we start executing. Then we'll determine the rest of the timeline. But this kind of planning phase is, that's at least I wanted to put that some timelines there and some milestones, even if they're tentative, obviously, and we'll see how we can address that. I put a couple of resources for the working group. We have a specific repo for the documents and the minutes. There's a specific Slack channel. If you're not there, please, let Ryan know. And also, thanks to Jen, we have now actually a project tracking, not only for this, but also for the outreach committee, so which will help us start capturing actions and see how we are progressing on those. So yeah, that was just general update. I don't know if there are any questions.
So what is the next on the agenda for the working group? You said meetings
So
tomorrow.
yeah, so I think last week we didn't have the chance to. I personally, for personal reasons, I couldn't make it in time. I was late, and anyway, Rachel, I believe Kate, you, and as well as Laura, I believe you met quickly and said, okay, let's. So it's pretty much covering the agenda items from last week. So I'll resend that today, and I think the key is really to start looking into how. I think the first thing is really the baseline, in my opinion. But obviously, we'll see how the team feels about that. Because right now, I'm not a big fan of starting something without having some level. If we can't get it, that's fine. But if there's a way to set some baseline and see how we can progress, decide on the metrics that are relevant to this. So that's what I'm hoping to get. I'll send the agenda this afternoon.
And Ab and Rachel, how do you guys envision who to write this actually, the crafting the draft? Sometimes it's easier to react to something than starting from scratch. So do you have some idea how we would address that?
Yeah, so for identifying the writer for the new brand messaging, that's also on our next meeting agenda item. And feel free to chime in and see what you're thinking. And certainly I can help and with working progress. And another thing we can do is to have like a running document and in the meeting, and then everyone contribute and provide the comments. So first of all, we need to identify the writer, and that's a discussion topic for next meeting.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, having an owner, obviously as a, but also others contributing, but a single owner just to drive that will be, I think, definitely very helpful and useful.
Okay. Makes sense. Any questions from the team? Others? I think a lot of participating stakeholders are also in this call as well. So great to have you all here. And Justin wants to join tomorrow's meeting.
Yeah,
Justin is from
absolutely.
Enclave.
Yeah, it'd be great if we have everyone join the working group, because it's super important for everyone to come up with that overall strategy, and really appreciate your time participating.
Perfect. Now I'll have Rian to forward that invite to Justin for the group. Absolutely. All right, anything else?
Not on this one, on this topic. That was the last slide for me.
Okay, so yeah, for your information, everyone, and so we will be bringing this update to the governing board today. It's literally right after the outreach call. Originally, I think we had an ambitious goal to kind of deliver in a more quicker time, but laying out this timeline and our milestone and planned, I think it's good to present as of end of June and today. So this is where we're targeting, and we think that it is achievable with everyone chiming in. Okay, so thank you, Ab and Rachel, for driving this.
Sure.
All right. Moving on to an event. So we have a PET, Privacy Enhancing Technology Summit in Singapore. And those of you who don't remember, we had, in the beginning of this year, we had committed to all of the PET series, which was in London, in New York, and lastly, Singapore. So the last piece is happening in July 16. And we have Mike from CCC and Jesse from Intel are kind of tag teaming for this activation this time. We also invite a few others that we met through the CC Summit as well as other network or through the organizer as well to be part of a CCC activation. But basically, we were able to pull off a lot of speaking engagement through this. We are participating 5 potentially plus opportunity at the moment. So I just copied and pasted those opportunity here that what type of talk that we will be doing and who we will be in the panel with. Mike, do you have anything to?
Yeah, it's just yeah. No, this is a great. Thank you. As always, if you have customers or partners or colleagues in the region, please let us know because we can get them there, right? And we'd love to see them there, getting, meeting and having a chance to be participating. The more people we have there, the better. Do we have some free tickets we can give out as well? So, free registration. So please do ask if you have colleagues who are going to be around, and I'd love to meet them. It'd be absolutely fantastic.
Right. So yeah, Mike is going to be doing some stop bys. So I think you're going to Korea.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Correct. Thank you. Yeah. So yeah, South Korea, Seoul, particularly. I wasn't planning to head to North Korea. It doesn't seem like a very good plan at the moment. And so again, if you have customers or ecosystem partners or colleagues there, I would love to meet them. I expect to be there probably the week before, or for a few days towards the end of the week before. So please shout. I'm kind of planning that right now, so I need to know as soon as possible. So if you could reach out or get me involved in any conversations you're having directly, that would be cool. Thank you.
Yeah, so he's already planning on being in Seoul, South Korea, and Singapore at the moment. But since he's very near that area, if there is or anybody that you like to connect him with to meet in the local area, feel free to let him know. And like he said, we have some VIP guest passes available for PET Summit in Singapore. So if you have your team member based in Singapore that would like to check out this conference for free, we have passes available. So shout if you want some. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. The next one on the list. So we have one call for proposals open that CCC is hosting. So we are co-locating our mini summit with the OSS EU. So this is a half-day kind of a deal. We will be able to accommodate up to 6 talks, depending on the number of talks that being submitted and how we want to curate. We probably might change, but this is the timeline that we have, and we are accepting submissions. So if you can submit or send it to your network or your company, your colleagues in that region. It is going to be happening in Vienna, Austria. So for any compelling content we would like to see, so this is the link to the proposal. I'm gonna copy and paste it on the chat as well. But please feel free to share with your network and submit your proposals as well. And I've listed those 4 upcoming CFPs, and I believe Sal has submitted to all of those except the KubeCon. That is KubeCon. Yeah, that is closed. So we are just socializing this information. We have not decided on any sponsorship or any type of engagement just yet. And I think this would be a good time to go on to the next slide. So in last year, I think close to December, we reviewed a list of events for the year, and we kind of marked the must prioritize and secondary and third. So we kind of made the priority list here, and I only grabbed the ones that are in the second half of this year. And I wanted to review this list with you all here, because first, I want to know if all of these events are relevant and we must prioritize. And second, is there any events that are missing that your company is participating and prioritizing that we're not in this list? And while y'all kind of taking a look at the list, because we are Linux Foundation project, we get a great discount for Linux Foundation hosted events, such as the OSS EU and OSS Japan KubeCon. So those are the conferences that we can get involved with the sponsorships with the 50% discount. And higher level of a sponsorship does give us some speaking opportunity at the main conference. But regardless, for OSS EU, since we are hosting the co-located event as the mini summit, it might make sense for us to invest our budget towards sponsorship and getting actually the birds of feather session with the minimum of the gold sponsorship, I think. So that's where we're at. Does anybody have any input?
So I think one thing I would say is one of the things we need to decide is what it means to be prioritizing. So first of all, there's attendance and sending folks like Kate or me to these things, or Sal or whoever it may be. And so that's one thing. And I can only go to a certain number of things. And so, you know, there are limited resources in terms of that. Then there is, you know, deciding that we're going to encourage people to do CFPs, and then there's, you know, sponsoring for a booth. So there's a variety of different things this can mean. And so we're constrained in terms of money, in terms of time, and in terms of people as well. So we kind of need to think about how we do these things. And I think that the probably best way of doing it is to prioritize in terms of, you know, what is your customer base? Where are your where are your colleagues planning to go anyway? Your company planning to go anyway? Because we can sort of double down on that, hopefully. And whether that is thinking about sectors or thinking about geographies, they both come into play, right? So, is there stuff happening in Singapore? Is there stuff happening in the federal world? Is it in the container world? Those are kind of things we need to think about. So I absolutely want to back up exactly what Kate said, that we need to work out which of these we're going to push for. It's very easy just to say, well, we'll look at all of them. But, you know, for instance, medtech, if we don't have anybody who is going to do medical stuff, and or we don't have a brand position on it, for instance, then maybe we should say drop that down to an if available. Again, you know, federal stuff. Maybe we're not ready to do that. Maybe there's not enough people going. I don't know. Maybe there are. So these are the things we need to talk about.
And some of these events are brought up by the members, and sometimes their sponsorship could mean having the panel session on the main stage and whatnot. So we can, if you bring that, I mean, we are also checking in general, but I think we need all of the members' help here. If you see the opportunity that where CCC can get involved, fast communication to us, I think that would be very, very helpful. MFJ?
Yeah, I'm curious about there's several of these, like the OSS EU and the SOSS. Are these Linux specific events?
So no, OSS, OSS Japan, OSS EU, and KubeCon North America are all run by the Linux Foundation. I don't know about SOSS. Oh, well, it looks like SOSS Fusion is as well. Looking at the URL, right? That doesn't mean they're only Linux. In fact, most of them aren't. The OSS ones have a broad umbrella. For instance, ContainerCon and open source leadership and LinuxCon all sit under that, as do others like Linux Security Summit tend to sit under those as well. So they're not specifically Linux based, but they are run by the Linux Foundation. Is that helpful?
Okay. Yeah, it is. I mean, I would say that the prioritization should be either the event itself is extraordinarily focused on privacy enhancing technologies, or it is a segment or a topic that is, very hot in confidential computing. So for example, from Confidential Computing Summit, I would say that there were two things that were red hot, and that was AI and containers. And so any of these things that like KubeCon, is all about container technology. And so to have something like that would be a priority. And PET, APAC, or MedTech are also good examples of things that are a lot of focus. And the audience would have kind of a built-in affinity toward learning about confidential computing. I think some of the others are more like general. I think the net is wider, and so I think we would have a harder time standing out. The problem is, it sounds like we get really cheap space and at those ones, but I think we would be, a little minnow in a great big sea of other minnows and big fish, and it would be hard to stand out.
While I agree to some degree, there's another kind of opposite way of looking at it, which is that particularly for the OSS ones, this is where we can target some of the more technical folks, and also you can say everyone's going to be there. So it's important to be there as well and to be seen and to tap those people. So, but this is the exact difficult trade-off, isn't it? I don't have a good answer.
Yeah.
For that.
No, those are a really great point. And I think once we get down to, we might need to create a different column for this, but I think once we identify that PET focus and this is more general security, and on the other one, this is more of a community. So if we identify and we set the percentage of our focus and where we would want to spend our money on, and I think that'll be very, very helpful. But this is very helpful feedback.
Yeah, thanks, Mike.
And I just think there are shows where there's a lot of people and there's like RSA, but your return on investment in RSA is actually really low. There's thousands and thousands of people there, but they're there to see thousands and thousands of other topics. And so it's just
right.
You're in the mix, but will anybody remember you? Will the engagements be quality? It's hard to say.
The return on investment, I think, would be different, and I think that's a great segment to go into the next slide. So when we actually look at the event and how much money we're spending, so Ben is going to go over budget in a second, but we spend 2/3, even more, of our outreach budget towards events. So there is a lot of money going into events. What has been, missing is actually the cadence and set metrics that we have been tracking. So there is a general consensus that we all know sentimentally that this event is good to go, this event is good to be involved and whatnot, but we need actual measurement to track. So these are 3 different buckets that I thought that would be meaningful to track. and that I'll go over there what I mean by each one of them. And I want to open up to everybody. We should be tracking something else as well, or we should not be tracking some of these. Let me know. But first, awareness. So this is exactly the point that Mike Grant-Jones was talking about. Some of these events will allow us the greater exposure. RSA, yes, the ROI from that event might not be same as the CC Summit ROI. So there is a broader audience with a large exposure that actually gets us to, this would be part of a thought leadership as well. We got our blog posts published on RSA website and things like that. So that allows to reach to the audience that we normally wouldn't have reached. Whereas the focused event like a PET Summit or CC Summit, we know who is going to be there. It is much smaller, but it's highly targeted that we are all aligned in that core agenda and core topic. So for the awareness purposes, size of attendees at those events will be deferred by the actual size of the event. So, and then the purpose would be different. The broad approach, whereas the focused approach. Are we aligned on that?
Yep, think so. Keep going. Sounds good.
And on top of that, we have an amazing marketing PM helping us amplifying all our social engagement or our engagement on social. And when we have a partnership with these events organizers, we have a cross promotion opportunities that we leverage. So we did a great promotion package with CC Summit as well as RSA. So whenever we make this kind of partnership, we seek for this promotion, we promote our speakers, our members, or our members also speaking at events. We promote through the social media as well. So this is part of awareness tracking. The other piece is a thought leadership and influence. So this is what I'm thinking of when we go out actually speaking and talk about what was on CC's agenda, as well as what our member companies are doing in terms of in the CC realm. So those are the number of speaking engagement can be tracked meaningfully, as well as the attendees at speaking engagement. This one is a little tricky because not all the conferences track their scan the badge for each like breakout session per se, but we can definitely track our CCC hosted engagement, such as the happy hour, which we have. I updated last meeting. We've got much more sign up for our CCC happy hour. We've got a lot of people joined, so definitely track those engagement. That helps us to determine for the next engagement. And lastly, conversion and connection. I put it as for more Mike's kind of items. So number of meetings conducted and number of new members yield. All of these are very relevant for Mike, and these can be tracked to support how we as outreach support events and how we get Mike's engagement through this activation yield some of these results.
I'd add a couple of things to that last one particularly, in that it's not just new members. We do, for instance, talking to getting people to come and talk to the TAC is another thing that is useful. That kind of fits under the meetings, and it's not just me as well. Sal or Ben or Rian, whoever's there, have meetings. Obviously, meetings with me tend to be pushing towards membership or other particular things, but I wouldn't want to restrict it and say that I'm the only person who's doing anything useful by meeting. It's actually quite the opposite of the case. But yeah, it's membership is obviously very important, but there are absolutely other types of meetings which are beneficial. Maybe talking to a customer of a member can be useful, or to an ecosystem partner, those sorts of things. And also, I think that when you talked about engagement of speaking engagements, one of the difficult things to track, of course, is when something is recorded at a conference, people come and look at it later on, and that's difficult to track. Maybe when we get links to those, the fact that we can amplify those and look at the social amplification of those is something we can think about adding as well.
That's a great point. We have done several of those. We have hosted the webinar. We actually recorded a panel session at an event. We uploaded on the website. We promoted through the social media and whatnot. So that numbers can be definitely captured and tracked. And these are based off of Ben and Lara's great work. You can check the event tracker doc on this slide. So Ben and Lara has helped me kind of build a ground foundation and laid out some of the items that we could be tracking. So I just pulled what I felt like that was relevant there. Just by glancing right now. Okay, go ahead.
No, please finish off.
I was just asking for feedback. Anything other than these we should be tracking. I made a note what you said, Mike.
Thank you.
But anything that doesn't worth tracking.
Yeah, literally all I was going to say is that we've been missing this for a long time. I have lots of meetings, I have lots of calls, I send out lots of emails, and we haven't had a good way of tracking it. And this is stuff I'm very bad at. So thank you very much indeed, Kate, for providing a framework that's going to make it actually possible for me to do this and be hopefully more efficient. And we can see when I'm not efficient. MFJ has a question as well.
Yeah, and what are the follow-ups usually on these kind of things? Is there are they asking for like a meeting with a commercial vendor, or are they just people wanting kind of generic follow-up on the tech?
So when I have follow-ups, they are I think I'd say there's three types of follow-up. One is membership, and I will always try and find people and meet people at these things and see if they're interested in becoming members. And then so that's kind of one type. Second is discussions around particular areas like attestation, and seeing whether there's work that is relevant to another group. And the third one is specifically saying, your stuff is interesting. I think there's crossover. How can we get you involved with the TAC or talking to the TAC? And hopefully sometimes that'll bring us on to membership. But those are the kind of three things that tend to be there. Sometimes people, want a copy of the slides, but obviously I try to push towards membership when I can.
Okay.
Ben said something about time.
Yes.
Right. Sorry.
Okay. And so what I'm hoping to do is to work with Rian and Ben to actually putting this in the tracker so that we can easily input into a tracker. And so that's to come next. And so I know we have several of us will have to jump to the governing board meeting. That's another long meeting. So I think we can table the rest of the topic unless, Ben, do you have the burning topic on the budget that you need to update?
Let's just show that slide, just so folks are aware of where we are.
And while Rian is collecting, okay.
Yeah, I noticed that you, I think you upped our OSS EU.
Right.
Yeah, so this is reflective of everything we know now. So I think the most important thing here to note is that the events budget, when you take into account the events that have already happened and the events that we're planning to attend, we roughly have about $43,000 left, right? Which is about 9 to 10% of the overall budget, right? And so I would say that's a good buffer amount to keep, because it's hard to predict the exact amount that we spend on some of these events, because there are some variable costs that we just can't predict. So we could dip a little below that, right? But I think like keeping a little bit of a buffer there for overages is probably good. So I would say that the events budget is pretty much allocated based on where we are now. Research budget is still open. We still got plenty for outreach travel, so no issues there. And we haven't spent any money on third-party marketing.
So I know our brand repositioning working group was talking about potentially needing some budget used for auditing. What we need to decide is what is the scope of this work, and that'll help us determine how much money that we can allocate to those and where we can find these helps from. There is definitely budget available to spend to other items like the brand repositioning auditing, but the original intent for setting the research budget apart was so last year's budget went towards the use case report. So that's where we are spending on the use case report this year. This year I allocated the same amount, but we can brainstorm in this rest of this year how we want to actually spend it on some of the CCC stuff. So that's up in the air. Third-party marketing, same. I kind of carried it over from last year's budget proposal. So if there is any kind of third-party consultant or any type of a one-off project that we need to allocate, there's the money for it for us to discuss. Outreach travel is the companies cover their own travels, but for some reason that you cannot get funded from your company, but you are executing CCC's speaking engagement or whatnot, there's a budget allocated to support you there. So that's what it is. Other than that, I have one quick thing. So speaking of a use case report, so that one, they're in the production. So they're creating the infographic and actually the design of the report, and we should be receiving it pretty fairly. So the group, which Mike Farron-Jones is leading, will be do the final review, and then potentially publish on July 8th, which is very soon. So once we have the actual date confirmed, we will send out a separate email and you can help us promote this. We already have a promotion plan with Jen on our all social media and our website and whatnot, but help us promote this one as well. I'm looking forward to this. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, awesome.
Sorry, just a quick question on the events. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah.
So I had a quick look at the event tracker. So are we talking as well, or trying to target or participate, I should say, in members events? I see, for example, there's the Intel Vision, which is great, but like that, are we looking at like Microsoft Build or events like from Google and others
I always ask, and it's very difficult to get people to say yes, do it. So I would love to be doing those things, and the more pressure we can put on, so it's not just me saying it, the better.
Okay, I just
I'll
want to
try and
see
remember to say yeah.
If I should raise that or not. Okay, all right, fair enough. Because I think that's. I mean, these are things I'm doing. I'm trying to do that as well internally on our side, in my company. But it'll be good to actually with all the members to try to leave some space. Yeah. Okay. Got it.
I'm very much with you on this one.
Okay.
Great.
Very cool. Okay. I'm gonna end the meeting here. We get 3 minutes before the next meeting. Thanks everybody for discussion today. And see you all next meeting.
Thank you, Kate. Thanks everyone.
Thanks.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.